Hey there, I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Gardenerd. I am sitting in front of my stinging nettle patch here at Gardenerd headquarters because that is the subject of today's video. Stinging nettles is something, well, they are something that show up usually in early spring for most people. Here they show up in winter and grow through spring until it starts to dry out, until our rainy season is over. Stinging nettles are something that volunteer prolifically if you let them get out of control, which I kind of have done on purpose because free food. They're edible, they are medicinal in some cases, and they can serve a purpose that will help you in the garden. So let's talk about all of those things. First, let's talk about the stinging nettle itself. It is, ow, and I just got stung. So it has a reason for being called a stinging nettle because it does sting. So you'll notice I'm wearing gloves and it protects me on this side, but not on the back. It'll sting right through that, which is what just happened. And the stings for these particular nettles are not super difficult. They sting for maybe about 5 minutes max. They don't hurt all that much. But the reason why they sting is because they have these little hairs that you can see here that run all along the stem and on the leaves. And those little hairs are the prickly bits, and they sting and they hurt for a little while after that. The good news is once they get cooked or are put in boiling water, those stingers become inert. So while handling stinging nettles, while picking them and working on them in the kitchen, I'm using rubber gloves. Rubber dish gloves. They are protective on both sides and the stingers don't get through. So these guys work a little bit, but not entirely. Still stinging. Now, you'll also notice that they form little seed heads all along the stem. So here, again, you can see these little flower buds. These are forming, and that is where the seeds start to disperse. And that is what causes them to volunteer year after year. So if you want to keep them from proliferating in your yard, you want to pick them before those start to show up while they're very young. So let's talk about the properties of stinging nettles. Many medical institutions consider them to be useful in fighting inflammatory issues. So you can make a tea with them. You take the stinging nettles, put them in a bowl, pour boiling water over them, steep them for a few minutes, and then pour off that water and drink it. Again, the nettles become inert once they get boiled, so you don't have to worry about them being those stingers getting you once you've prepared your tea. Now, the second thing that stinging nettles are great for is eating. And we have many, many, many recipes and more to come, obviously, on gardenerd.com. So you can go to gardenerd.com and search stinging nettle recipes, and you will find all of the things we've been experimenting with. Pies, soups, stews, just a lot of things. Pastas, risotto, everything. It's all in there. And quite possibly the most important use for stinging nettles in gardening is that you can use that tea that you brew and turn it into an antifungal treatment. So stinging nettles are naturally antifungal. Several studies have shown that an application of a tea of stinging nettles can actually inhibit or diminish the growth of fungal spores. So we use it around Gardenerd headquarters when we start seeing powdery mildew showing up on brassicaceae or on squash plants or on tomatoes. So you can brew a tea and keep it in your refrigerator and store it for the time that you need it, put it in a spray bottle and apply it, or you can dry the leaves because the stingers become inert during that time as well, once they're dry, and then brew a tea with the dried leaves. All of these ways to use stinging nettles will help improve your life and your garden. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to find out when our next video comes online. And consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff we do here at Gardenerd. Patreon subscribers get behind-the-scenes goodies and monthly hangouts with me. I love answering burning gardening questions, so consider joining and join me online once a month. All right, that's it for this week, everyone. Happy gardening.